Hello, YouTube family. I'm back. Welcome. So I welcome you back. Or just welcome if you're new. I am Texas Beach Mom, or Mama Robin if you prefer. And it is Watch Wednesday. But before we get into the video, I hope everybody had a really good Thanksgiving. I took some time off to spend with my family, with my daughter, my son, and my daughter's new boyfriend. So far, he seems like a phenomenal person. I'm just happy for her. As long as it stays the course, we're good. Unfortunately, because the experiences she's been through and experiences I've been through, I'm a little leery. But so far, so good. So I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. I hope everybody enjoyed their family. I hope everybody was chill. And I'm glad to be back, and I'm glad to see you guys again. So, as I said, it is Watch Wednesday. Now, I did have a video planned for tonight that probably was going to be a longer video than this one. But something I saw the other day made me feel like I should be doing a different video than the one I planned. I will probably do the one I originally planned, I will probably do next Wednesday. However, I do have something for you tonight. Now, it won't be as long as the one I originally planned, but I think it will be good. It will be one of my shorter ones, but it'll still be good. So, as you know on my channel, I either do research on something, do my own research, and do my own video, or while doing research sometimes I run across somebody else's video and I simply react to it. And I typically don't attack people. I mean, the only person I can think of that I've actually attacked, like the person himself, was Meredith 2 Cents. For the most part, though, I don't attack anybody as a person. I don't even really attack the channel. They may have videos that I don't like, and that's my opinion. Or they may have videos that, for the most part, I agree with. But there were some points brought up in it that I agreed for like most of the video, but there's some points brought up that I didn't agree with. And again, it is just my opinion. So that's, everybody that watches me regular knows that I'm either doing my own research and doing my own video, or I'm reacting to something else I saw when I was doing research. So I was doing some research and was going to do a different video, as I said, and I saw a new video from Behind Criminal Minds. And you've heard me mention them before. I love his channel. I absolutely love everything that man does. I think all his videos are well thought out, well researched. I like the layout, everything about them. I think his videos are phenomenal. Real Killers, and I think the other one I'm thinking of is called Crime and Dreading. I could be wrong. If I am and somebody knows what I'm talking about, you can let me know. Anyhow, so this was one, Behind Criminal Minds, and it's his newest one, and I don't remember the name of it, but of course it's going to be the most recent Chris Watts one, and I think it's something about him and Nicole again, but it's a deep dive. But what he does, and again, I aspire to be half as good as he is someday. Jeez. But anyway, he comes out of the gate very briefly mentioning Dylan Tallman's book. And he kind of talks about how some people tend to blow off Dylan Tallman because Dylan Tallman is a prisoner. But he also gives reasons why Dylan Tallman's book could be credible. Now, I've said before, I don't think Dylan Tallman lied. I don't. I think he wrote what Chris told him. In other words, I don't think Dylan made any of it up. I think the things that he talks about in his book are things that Chris told him. That doesn't mean that there's not lies in the book, but they're not Dylan's lies. There's Chris's lies. So let's get that straight. But that's, again, it's just my opinion. It's my opinion that Dylan Tallman wrote about things that Chris told him. Okay? And he briefly covers it in the beginning, and then he covers it a little bit more at the end. But he takes like the last 2 weeks of Shanann's life, and he summarizes it, and he talks about all the aspects in it. And he talks about his timeline, the way he presented the timeline of this was just chef's kiss. It was wonderful. Hands down, I think he's one of the better people out there. I'm not saying that there aren't other good content creators. I think there's many of them that are amazing. And as I said earlier, I agree with most of them most of the time. There are things brought up, and I'm sure in everyone's video that I don't agree with, and I've said so. But when people do an amazingly good job, I talk about it. I feel like it needs to be talked about. So he takes like the last 2 weeks of Shanann's life, and he goes to timeline, and he uses things out of the Discovery, like actual sentences out of the Discovery, and he puts them up there, and he talks about things that were said. And some of the things in it, I don't remember hearing anybody else talking about. Now, in all fairness, that doesn't mean nobody's talked about it. It means I don't remember hearing it. So, for somebody like me or anyone that has studied this case for 6 years, or you've watched, a bunch of different videos from a bunch of different creators, it's very easy because everybody takes the same story and they put it in a different light. Okay, so it's very easy. It's incredibly easy to, after you've watched so many of these and you've heard the same stuff but from different perspectives, it's easy to forget some of what you said if it wasn't brought up very often, or it's easy to get some of it confused, turned around, because when you've got 1,000 voices repeating the same story from 1,000 different perspectives, it either gets too monotonous after a while, or some stuff gets forgotten. So it's very possible that I've heard people talk about some of the stuff that he did, and I just don't remember it. But he did talk about some things that I've either heard talk about or I haven't heard talk about very much. Now, everybody's talked about there's been arguments, there's been debates about whether or not Chris gave Shanann oxybutynin. Chris admitted it, and I've mentioned this before. And he talks about it. But he presents it in a better way than I can. So, again, this is talking about his video. Let's see, my hair's driving me nuts. My bangs are getting too long. So let's take my glasses off for right now. But anyway, so he talks about the oxybutynin and how Chris attempted to poison her to get rid of the baby. And there's a texted conversation talking about how sick Shanann was at that time. But he takes different things from the Discovery and the text messages, and he lines it up in a very good way. Like, he explains, like, the last 2 weeks. And like I said, there's things in it that either I've heard before and just don't remember, or there's things in it that are new that I somehow haven't caught yet, because I don't claim to be an expert about this. I claim to know a lot about this, but most of us do know a lot about it. I mean, Jesus, it's been talked about for 6 years. So, with that being said, he talked about the oxybutynin, or whatever, not oxybutynin. What am I saying? Oxybutynin, not oxybutynin. The oxycodone or whatever. He talks about that. And I keep saying oxybutynin. I'm sorry. I don't even know where that comes from. What that is or where that comes from. But he talks about the oxycodone and that it wasn't prescribed to him, and that he gave it to her trying to cause a miscarriage, and he'll go to his grave and blah, blah, blah. And we've talked about the fact that Jamie probably was the one that gave it to him. And we've talked about the fact that, because I wondered if Jamie knew what he wanted it for. He doesn't talk about that. Either he doesn't have the information or he doesn't think it's credible enough. And either one of those is possible. Um, but he does talk about that some. And he talks about Shanann making an appointment with the marriage counselor. Now, I don't remember anybody mentioning that before. I really don't. So if somebody knows what that is or has heard it, please let me know. I mean, like I said, it's easy after you've studied this for so long and you've listened to so many different people and you've heard 1,000 different people from 1,000 different perspectives talk about the same subject. It's easy to forget something or to misplace it or to turn it around or whatever because you start hearing it or when you're reading it. You know what I'm saying? So if somebody knows about that, I don't remember ever hearing about her making an appointment with a marriage counselor. I really don't. That doesn't mean that she didn't. It means I don't remember it. So I'm sure if it's out there, somebody will point it out to me in the comments. He talks about, of course, everybody knows about the book she bought and how it's found in the trash. Like I said, he doesn't. It's an almost an hour long video, but he does such a great job taking the discovery and text messages and videos and he lines everything up in a timeline, giving you like at this moment when Chris was doing this with Nikki, Shanann was doing this, with her family, or when Chris was doing this, Shanann was doing this, and how everything just kind of came into like this perfect storm. And then at the end, he kind of talks about Dylan Tallman's book, and he kind of explains why people dismiss it because he's a criminal, but he then explains why maybe he shouldn't be dismissed. Which, as I've already said, I don't dismiss him because I don't think Dylan Tallman lied. I think Dylan Tallman reported what he was told and that Chris lied. But here's the thing, I don't think Chris lied through all of it. I think he lied about some of it. Like, there's the talk about when Chris came home from that night at 1:48, she knew he was having an affair. She knew about this, she knew about that. She confronted him. In Dylan Tallman's book, he uses the word stabbed. He says, let me back up, let me correct myself. He says that Chris told him that Shanann had a knife. Now, none of us believe that. Or I can't say none of us. Most of us don't believe she had a knife. I don't believe it. But that might be what Chris told him. Now, I will tell you that Behind Criminal Minds does not mention that part. But it does mention a physical fight. Again, I think some things he leaves out because he doesn't think they're credible. That's probably the more responsible way to go. Whereas I take a different approach. I feel like all avenues should be discussed, but at the same time, you should understand that some of it's probably bullshit. You know what I'm saying? So, he talks about Dylan Tallman's book a little bit. He talks about why people blow him off, but then he talks about why maybe he should be considered, should be credible. He should be considered credible. So, just to summarize, he did a phenomenal job. He did a great job. Great job of discussing the time. I don't know. I just watched it again. I've watched it twice now, and my brain did not absorb everything he said in the way that he said it. So I'm going to suggest, if you want a good summary and you want a good video, because like I said, I think his videos are very well written, very well thought out, very well done. His points are good. I just think he does a good job. I think him, Will Killers, and Crime and Dreading, I think is one. And there are other good people. There's tons of people out there that do a good job. But he's very careful about what he says and how he says it, which is smart. Makes him smarter than me. But that's just me giving my opinion on things, and then sometimes people take my opinion wrong. Oh, well. Anyhow, that's pretty much all I have. I suggest you go to his channel. I suggest you watch his video. It is an hour long, but it didn't feel like an hour. It felt like it was, you watched it, you listened to it, and then you went, oh, shit, wait a minute, what? And then you look at the clock, you're like, oh, crap, that's been a whole hour ago. So I suggest y'all go to his channel. I suggest you find that video. It's going to be his most recent one, and he's got a fairly new one up about Scott Peterson, too, which I've watched, and it was also very good. It's not just, Chris Watts he talks about. It's behind Criminal Minds, so it's true crime. But he did a phenomenal job again. My hat off to him. He rocked another one out that was great. And it's been a while since we've heard from him, so it was a nice change of pace. So next Wednesday will probably be the video that I wanted to do tonight. It does cover my next video next week covers 3 different videos. 2 videos from one creator and another video from another creator, that's all I'm going to say about it for now. We'll get into that next week. I will have my Friday Night Live at 10 o'clock. I will probably talk about the Menendez brothers because there's more stuff coming up about that. If not, I'm sure I'll find something to talk about. On my Friday Night Lives, because I do save Wednesdays for Watts, on my Friday nights, I talk about true crime stories, but I usually pick something that is not solved, or something that's not well known, or something that was covered 1,000 years ago and people already forgot about it, and I bring them back into light. And a lot of the ones that I cover, I don't have to do any research on because I already know the story. Usually if I'm doing research, it's about something that somebody's requested that I don't know that well. Like I did spend that one Friday night where I talked about P. Diddy. I didn't want to breach that one, but people asked me to, so I did. I literally just, went over everything that I could find about it. And like I said, that wasn't one I was originally planning on doing, but I did. So again, because Friday nights are whatever y'all want, then if anybody has suggestions, mention it to me in the comments. I'm always looking for things to talk about. I do still have the one case I'm still trying to get more information on, but finding information on it, it's almost like it's faded into nothingness. And it really is upsetting me because it's happening here in Texas. It's the Lady Bird Lake, the people that have died at Lady Bird Lake, those 13 deaths over 2 years. I don't believe that they were all accidental drownings. I believe there was a lot more to it. So I've discussed that case before on my Friday night live. So don't know yet. It could be Menendez. It could be the Lady Bird Lake here in Texas. It could be something else that pops up in my little brain. It could be something that somebody recommends or asks about. That's why it's important that if you have anything you want to see, let me know. And if you can't make the live, hell, you can watch it later. It's going to upload. You're going to watch it later. So I think we're going to wrap it up. Go to Behind Criminal Minds. Watch his most recent video about the Chris Watts case. And watch everything he's got. Hell, he does such a good job. Subscribe, like, share. Do the same for me. Subscribe, like, and share. Make good choices. Be good to each other. Happy birthday. If you got one today, had one since the last time I seen you, or got one coming up before next Wednesday. Happy anniversary. All the good stuff. Make good choices. Be good to each other. Try very hard to treat everyone with respect. Okay? Because I love you. I care about you. And I want to see you treat people. I mean, I like to be treated with respect. So does everyone else. And I think right now we just have a lot of anger. People seem to be really angry about shit. And sometimes it's stuff they don't need to be angry about. I'm not getting on any particular subject. I'm just talking in general. People just seem to be angry. So be respectful of people. Be kind. Anyway, I love y'all. Have a good night. I'll see some of you on Friday.